A Filipino-American sommelier is making waves in the international wine industry. Miguel De Leon recently won the James Beard Foundation Journalism Award for his essay revealing his experience as a wine writer in a white race-dominated industry. The James Beard Foundation Awards is considered the Oscars of the food industry. Miguel joins us now live from New York in the United States. Hello, Miguel. It's so glad to have you, or we are so glad to have you, rather. First of all, congratulations, of course. You've bested some of the finest food writers at this year's awards. Miguel, how does it feel to win this award? And what does this award really mean for you?
Well, it's staggering, right? The entire award system was on a different kind of audit this year. So it was over the last 2 years as opposed to just the one. A much shorter category where they eliminated the beverage writing category as well, which I would have written for. So rigorous, a lot more kind of focused work. And obviously proud to say that like my Filipino-ness is the thing that got me here.
This is a pretty big deal, Miguel. Now, your winning essay is titled "It's Time to Decolonize Wine." Why choose this topic? You've sort of pointed the finger at what we're calling the white supremacy in the wine industry. Tell us more about the content and the context, really, of your essay.
Sure. It's a kind of bound up in the idea that our successes aren't just adjacent to, say, Black liberation, or even just this idea of civil rights. It's that someone tells us that, you have to turn it off. You have to, when you're at work, you leave your baggage at the door. You can't really do that if you're brown, Right. This is the baggage that I carry. It's the that I have. It's kayumangge that I have. And so that's really the impetus of the piece, and I wanted to have a bigger conversation about, understanding that through my Filipino lens, but also in wine.
Right. Well, obviously, winning this award is obviously a knockout punch to the message. I mean, really, being a member of the BIPOC community, doing what you do, and being recognized for what you do is really the perfect stamp, I think, to the whole subject of your article.
Yeah, thank you. It feels good, especially when you can say that it's the thing that kind of brings other people together is just you being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And kind of celebrating our own differences. I think we're at a really specific and very happy point in our own kind of modern Filipino identity to be able to call ourselves global citizens, and then for other people to kind of really find inroads in terms of commonalities, because we talk about us and our culture being one of the first melting pots in Asia.
Yeah.
And that's a jumping off point rather than something that people, I think, could find differences to nag on about.
Sure. I mean, rather than, I think, disrupting the existing hegemony, it's more about, for me, democratizing the idea of wine for everyone. Miguel, when did your fascination for wine begin? You were born here in the Philippines, spent a portion of your childhood here, and eventually moved to the U.S. when you were 10. Now, has this always been your dream? How did it all come about? And obviously, this wouldn't have been the first on the list of career paths. It must have been difficult, and here you are living your dream.
Yeah, I mean, thanks. I hasten to say that, like, I think it was the first time that I started to kind of really carve a path for myself. Wine wasn't part of the equation, right? I went to college, I was studying linguistics and urban planning, so that I had nothing to do with the food or beverage industry at all. But working to get myself, a little bit of an income while I was a student, I ended up working at a restaurant. And then when I moved to New York, that was when I really took kind of wine really, really seriously, because it felt like a secondary education. It really provided me a lens to kind of not just travel, but also kind of taste as many things as possible. Really, really fascinating to be in the space now, considering it's starting to look way more diverse as well.
Well, listen, it's one thing to enjoy wine, to love wine, but it's another thing to sort of make it your profession. Was that a tough, chasm to bridge?
I mean, yes, I think more for my mom than for me. But at the end of the day, I feel like if I can be proud about what I do, and it's especially because of the fact that I'm Filipino that I'm successful, then I'm just making this position as easy as possible for someone else to kind of go through the motions as well.
Right. And your wins really, I mean, we win through you as well. Now, we Filipinos are huge wine lovers, especially when it comes to celebrations. Now, as a wine expert and professional, Miguel, here's that question. Tell us what makes a great wine, or perhaps to use the term that you've used, through the lens of being a Filipino, through our flavor profile, through our cuisine, through our cultural experience. What makes a great wine for Filipinos?
One thing that I want Filipinos to remember is that we love to customize our own food. Diba? And every table there's always suka, patis, toyo, or whatever else that you want to make for yourself. And it's the same thing with wine. I can't tell you what to drink, but there's kind of good general guidelines that this sauce is going to be better with this. This sauce is going to be better than that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it's your personal taste. For me, Filipinos, we love sour food, we love sweet food, and we love savory food. That seems to be like the cuisine really drives through those flavors. And so I like to look at things that speak to those things also. I'm a history nerd, so I like looking at Spanish wine and saying how we can reconcile our histories that way.
Cool.
So that's always great. There's a good spectrum of flavors that we can exploit with something like that, say like Vinho Verde from Portugal, or maybe from Galicia, and then maybe something coastal like along the sides of Barcelona. In Catalonia, there's a lot of really good things that come out of there. And then obviously sherry, one of the first places from Spain that brought their wine product to the Philippines. I like having that conversation because I think it also starts us thinking about that same axiom of like, how does our past inform our future?
Right.
And if we can do that in a delicious way, then wine's a really wonderful vehicle for us to be able to talk about that.
Yeah, you have to create that conversation and create that story between the wine, the context that you're enjoying it in, the food that you're pairing it with, so on and so forth. Before we go, any big trends in wine? What are we looking at in the future? What are the big trends?
Wines that are really, really quaffable. So something that you can chug and something that you can drink a lot faster than most things. I think that's going to be the thing, especially if climate change is continuing to happen.
Natural wines, is that a big thing?
Another one would be, I mean, it's what I'm living in here in New York, and natural wine is kind of the next wave that's going to hit globally, I think. It's wines with lower inputs or no inputs whatsoever, lower manipulation, no interventions. So something that's just healthier for you. I mean, even moderationally speaking, it is an alcoholic product at the end of the day, but I think it's something that you can enjoy way more responsibly, because we can be sound on the other side, knowing that the people who made it, the land that it's coming from, is also taken care of.
Well, I think the most important word there is enjoy, all right? And we are enjoying your success. Congratulations once again, Miguel. Thank you once again for joining us. That was award-winning Filipino-American Sommelier, Miguel De Leon. Thank you so much.